annual TST. And if you're looking for this game at 9:45, well, we got to start early because of the inclement weather that's going to be showing up. So we were just as surprised as y'all are. And that's our story, and we're sticking to it, trying to beat the weather that's going to come through and rage, apparently, through Cary, North Carolina, 15 minutes prior to starting this game. And we're all lucky to be here because we might have had 15 minutes of game action without any scenarios. And there's a shot fired automatically. We haven't even identified who it is that's playing here. I haven't even introduced myself. My name's Christian Philemon, better known as Philly, and back here once again with you on this Freaky Friday. The weekend is here, and we're starting earlier, so heck, let's have some fun. Tonight's matchup features the Mississauga Dolphins out of Group A and City Soccer out of Group B. Both teams looking to avoid Group L, not Sergio Aguero's group. I'm talking about the group heading to the Raleigh-Durham International Airport, as this is a knockout game. Survive and thrive, or lose and get left behind. And for those that tuned into my last call, yes, I did recycle that joke. Now, before we really go into the story about both teams, let's go over the TST rules. 7v7, two 20-minute halves of running clock. No offside, no slide tackling, no throw-ins, no ties. Every game ends with a game winner in target score time, and we'll tell you all about that as we get closer. Our officials for tonight's game, John Freeman and Shane Lane. Let's talk about the records of these two teams. The Mississauga Dolphins, out of the greater Ontario area in Canada, you guessed it. Group A, it's a team that finished 1-2, and in Group B, City Soccer finished with a 2-1 record. Your players to keep an eye on for City Soccer, Edson Brofheid. Edson Brofheid is an individual that competed with the Dutch national team, played with Bayern Munich, Celtic in the Scottish Premier League, Lazio in Serie A. In fact, Edson Brofheid managed to play in a World Cup final the year that Belgium was there. So keep your eyes out on number 3. You won't be able to miss him. He's got thighs as big. He's got legs as big as my hips. A very powerful player who can find the back of the net and take down defenders ever so easily. As far as Mississauga is concerned, you're going to want to keep an eye out on Sebastian Lopez. Lopez, 4 goals throughout the course of the TST thus far. Who is City Soccer, you ask? Well, it's named after an indoor facility that was established in 2010 down in South Florida. It's their second year in the TST. If you go back to the archives, they were competing in Group J. They didn't come out of the group stages, but as you can see, there is no losing if there is learning, and they've clearly learned as they find themselves in the knockout stages looking for a trip to the Sweet 16. As far as the Mississauga Dolphins are concerned, we mentioned that they're from the province of Ontario. This is a team that is very talented with a lot of incredible Canadian players. Again, we mentioned from the greater Toronto area. And so we're about 4 minutes into this game. And again, we apologize. A lot of chaos here as we're looking to avoid some crazy, crazy weather. But both teams are out, ready to compete. In fact, it's so crazy. Production got here just in the nick of time. Heck, I got here in the nick of time. We don't really have much of an audience because everybody thinks that this game is scheduled for 9:45. And when they show up, then they're going to see the clock's already 15 minutes into this game. They're going to scratch your heads the same way that y'all are at home scratching your heads. But either way, like fighters that we are, we're going to run and roll through the punches. As far as the TST is concerned, a couple of new rules to mention. No more than 3 players in the substitution area. Only the captain can address the referee, but there is a goal to start things off. That's how quickly things can happen in the TST, folks. Barely 5 minutes into it. And the Mississauga Dolphins fire in a missile and score the first goal of the game. In fact, it happened so quickly, we didn't even get an opportunity to identify the goal scorer. We'll let you know about that momentarily. But to finish my thought, no freezing of the ball. Ball must be advanced every 8 seconds. And so we do have confirmation as far as who the goal scorer is. and that was number 17. Number 17, Maxim Kowal. Opportunity strikes here as Mississauga was looking to strike through. And as far as Kowal is concerned, he's had a run around the globe as far as his career is concerned. All throughout Eastern Europe, in England, the Ukraine, Canada. But where he's thriving right now is here in Cary, North Carolina, as he puts the Dolphins up by a score of 1-0. Now, plenty of y'all at home are sitting asking yourselves, Mississauga, maybe I'm familiar with it, maybe I'm not. A Canadian city, as we mentioned, in Ontario, ever so closely as it borders the city of Toronto. It's the 7th most populous municipality in Canada, 3rd most in Ontario. There's a shot that ricochets off of a white-kitted brick wall. And we got started so quickly, didn't identify who's who. City Soccer wearing the orange kits with the black lettering. The Mississauga Dolphins wearing the whites with the red trim and the yellow numbers. And I could completely understand right now why the production staff wanted to get this game started early. We already saw a hint of lightning in the distance. A blinking light and a shot of, well, Mother Nature, let's put it that way. Mother Nature, the only entity along with Father Time that will go through all of our lives undefeated. As far as undefeated is concerned, coming out of the group stages, we have 12 groups of 4. Only 5 teams came out unblemished. That would be La Bombonera, Newtown Pride, Pumas to Alabama. If you haven't heard of Pumas to Alabama, folks, that's a team you need to pay attention to. They're a cash prize-hungry, mercenary-style team that is very talented. Conkefa and Pasha Luxury, the other sides. I was doing a little bit of homework in terms of notable people that have come out of the city of Mississauga. And if you're fans of the beautiful sport of hockey, Don Cherry, a famous commentator, is from Mississauga. And I reference him because if you happen to catch any of my broadcasts in the Major Arena Soccer League on the CBS Sports Golazo Network, you might have seen me in a purple suit with a lot of sequin, a la Don Cherry. So I wanted to give a shout-out to the legendary man out of Mississauga. Now, ever so quickly, the Mississauga Dolphins strike first. Maxim Kowal, if you're just joining us right now, scratching your head going, why is this game underway at 9:37 when it should have been a 9:45 kickoff? Trying to beat the thunder and the lightning, folks. And I'm not talking about any of those 80 songs that you heard in the discotheques. I might be dating myself with that reference. But just trying to beat Mother Nature. Again, can't help but reiterate that. That's where we are, where we are. City Soccer played in a really entertaining and competitive game yesterday, winning in target score time. We'll talk about how these teams fared out in their groups. We already talked about their records. City Soccer started their group stages beating Cardinal Legacy. Cardinal Legacy was a collection of Stanford University soccer alums. They ended up getting skunked rather, by the Hoosier Army by a score of 3-0. And then defeating Cagliari Calcio, who was just on the pitch earlier against Newtown Pride, the team that won the TST back in 2023. As far as the Mississauga Dolphins, they had a 1-2 record and find themselves here in the knockout stage. They lost to Liga Foot 7 by a score of 6-3. They lost to La Bombonera 4-2, but they beat Abarotera Hidalgo Club de Football 6-2. So that's the teams as Edson Brofheid goes down to the ground. As I mentioned, that is the player to watch on City Soccer. There are a lot of players that have competed in some very impressive places throughout their careers. But Edson Brofheid, one of the few in the TST that can lay claim to the fact that he played in a World Cup final with the Dutch national team. That is number 3. Shot ricocheting off and poked away. It's going to stay Dolphins ball. the Dolphins managed to score 11 times, which truthfully is a big reason as to how they managed to claw their way into the group stages, out of the group stages, I should say. An entry into the Sweet 16 on the line. This TST tournament has continued to grow. Those 12 groups of 4, 48, but we're getting down to the wire. Fantastic move, slashing through on the right. Ball is loose. Comes out of play. The winner of this game will compete against Drip FC. Drip won just a little while ago over on the upper fields. They defeated the Darlings, the Wrexham Red Dragons, by a score of 6-2. Wrexham had an impressive showing in the group stages, and a lot of people running around with those Wrexham Red Dragons kits. A lot of that coming by way of the show, and it's what a genius scenario for Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds. And with the success that Wrexham has had climbing up 3 divisions in over the course of 3 years, that's garnered a lot of fans. And when you turn on Fox or pick up Hulu, you see that Wrexham show, you've learned about a lot of the players. I mean, hell, I got to hang out with Paul Mullins at a Los Angeles Football Club match just a couple of years ago. That was back when Wrexham was taking their tour of the United States. I believe it was the match in San Diego where he sustained an injury against Manchester United. Paul Mullins, a very lovely fellow and a very talented footballer. The Dolphins on the run, and the official missed on the fact that number 5 on City Soccer, Thomas Sierra, tugged down on the kid of the attacking player from the Mississauga Dolphins.
Mississauga Dolphins in the white and red hold a 1-0 lead over City Soccer FC in the orange.
And so, folks, just within the blink of an eye, we're 12 minutes and 30 seconds into this game. The Dolphins struck first. And a yellow card being issued to the City Soccer bench. So from what I'm hearing from our statistician is there were some choice words utilized, things that you can't say not only on a family-friendly show, but of course on a broadcast. So yellow card issued. And the official blows the whistle. We resume play. Shot gets fired in, belted into the air as high as the eye can see. So it's going to stay on this end of the pitch. Ball gets put back into play. And within this crazy chaos and confusion, I haven't even bothered telling you who the starting keepers are. For the Dolphins, it's number 0, Carlos Zabalos. For City Soccer, the starting keeper is number 1, Anderson Vera. Carlos Zaballos of the Mississauga Dolphins competed with the Toronto FC Academy. He's also a part of the Uruguayan men's national team. At one point, one of the best international teams in the world. Also has TST experience, having played last year with the Reggae Rovers. So that is the man that is charged with protecting La Puerta. As far as Anderson Vera is concerned, he played and started out professionally. There's a shot fired. And as we talk about the aforementioned keepers, a brilliant save is made by Zaballos. So if there's anybody that has the ability to instruct his players based on experience within this matchup, it's certainly, actually both these teams are fairly experienced as far as TST is concerned. And the experience matters. First year was brand new, and that gave the introduction to a lot of players that play small-sided soccer. Small-sided soccer, of course, I'm talking about 7v7. I'm talking about futsal. I'm talking about beach soccer. I'm talking about arena soccer. And there are professional athletes from all of those avenues.
Leads 1-0 over City Soccer FC in the orange.
As far as small-sided is concerned, the size of this pitch, in case you're wondering, 65 yards long, 45 yards wide. The goals themselves are also small, smaller, 6.5 feet from top to bottom, 18.5 feet in terms of width. They utilize a size 5 miter ball. Miter, the official ball supplier of the TST. So we are under 5 minutes remaining here. Are we? Yes, we are. I had to question that myself. For you folks joining us right now on the broadcast, that is not an error on your screen. We got this game started 15 minutes earlier than originally scheduled, just to give you the 4-1-1 and keep you up to date. There's some crazy weather that's about to hit us here at the WakeMed Soccer Park in Cary, North Carolina. So we're doing our best to try to push these games through to avoid Mother Nature issuing her wrath down on us. Needing to get out of the round of 32, heading into the Sweet 16. And so thus far, the team that is sitting in the position of power is the team from Canada, the Mississauga Dolphins. So that ball bounces back over into the capable hands of Vera. Didn't get a chance to finish my thoughts on him as this game has been going by so fast. The Primera A in Colombia, that is the top flight professionally in Colombia, and there's a lot of professionals that have come out of Colombia that have been outstanding. Anderson Vera playing for one of the biggest clubs, Atlético Nacional. That's where he started off his career. Bounced around a little bit. But like the rest of his teammates and everybody in this tournament, looking to cash in on that cool $1 million bag. The winner of this tournament will walk away with $1 million. Tournament last year originally consisted of 32 teams, now up to 48. And with the growth of this tournament, the popularity, it's attracting a lot of attention. In fact, since 2023, the TST has had over 1,000 teams apply to be a part of it. Of course, there's a weeding out process. And so that is how much it's grown in just a couple of years. ESPN is streaming some of the games internationally. Some very big Fortune 500 blue chip companies that want to have sponsorships here. You could look on the pitch. You could see the Coca-Cola signs. RBC Wealth Management, a big reason as to why the women's division opened up. Shot saved by Vera. Miter, of course, the official ball supplier. The partnership with Wrexham has introduced us to a wonderful lager called Wrexham Lager. And if you have the desire to head on to this TST tournament and you're local, that should be one of your first stops, because on a hot day, nothing feels better than a cold, cool, crisp beer. In this case, a Wrexham Lager. Under 2 minutes remaining here in this first half. The Mississauga Dolphins currently up by a score of 1-0. And if you listen to some hard rock back in the day, the band Drowning Pool, let the bodies hit the floor. Players flying all over the place here on that touchline. Once again, to reiterate, a spot in the Sweet 16 is on the line. Kansas City Soccer claw one back as we are under 60 ticks of the game clock before we head into our first half, well, our only halftime break. Our other break is going to be between the second half and the start of target score time, which I'll explain when we come out of the break. TST, an acronym for the soccer tournament, as well as target score time. Very nuanced element and a very exciting one as well. We got target score times and golden fleeces on the line. And if you're a veteran, you know what the TST is. Maybe you don't know what the golden fleece is. But I'll tell you all about that. Aiming to inform, educate, and entertain. Check those 3 boxes. We've had ourselves a good broadcast. 8 seconds. Will there be one last attempt? Back over to Ceballos. And the official making the motion, and that is the end of the first half, folks. We head into the break with the Mississauga Dolphins leading City Soccer by a score of 1-0. 0. We're going to take a break. That's going to give you an opportunity to stretch. Head on over to the fridge, grab yourself something fun, and come on back and join us as we got plenty more here on Field 5 at WakeMed Soccer Park.
Fans, we thank you for joining us for this round of 32 match on Field 5. We started 15 minutes early.
Welcome back, folks, to the WakeMed Soccer Park in Cary, North Carolina, Field 5, as we are set to resume the matchup between the Mississauga Dolphins and City Soccer. Now, if y'all are just joining us right now and are questioning what is going on, yes, we are aware that this game was scheduled for a 9:45 start, but because of some crazy weather that's on the horizon, and I can tell you I've seen some flashes of lightning myself, we got this game started 15 minutes early. It was crazy. We were just getting back to our tents when we were told go and start the broadcast. So here we are. in this world of craziness, calamity, and chaos. But I'll tell you, you can't have fun unless it's crazy. The team that's not having fun right now is City Soccer due to the fact that they were down against the Mississauga Dolphins. Starting the game early, we had a goal by number 17, Maxim Kowal. Maxim Kowal, one of those many players that has a very impressive stamp collection on his passport from playing in Canada, playing in Eastern Europe, as that shot gets fired into the nether regions. And so, with the game starting, the score currently 1-0. Let me take a moment to explain the other TST, the target score time. As far as that's concerned, you take the tally of the leader. In this case, it's the Dolphins. It's 1-0. You add a goal to that. That would make it 2. That is what the target score is. So once regulation is over, we head into target score where the team that hits 2 wins. Because Mississauga is in the lead, that makes their life a little easier. City Soccer, with regulation coming to a close, still very much in it, but they would need to score 2 goals. You start with 7v7s, and then after 3 minutes, if no goal is scored, or rather I should say no target score is achieved, each team will remove 1 player from the pitch, meaning we go from 7v7 to 6v6. If after 3 minutes, still no result, then another player from each team comes off, and we head from 6v6 to, you guessed it, 5v5, 4v4, 3v3 potentially, but no less than 2v2. I'm going to quote a stat that came up at the beginning of the day that has no doubt been punctured. The part of the target score that sees the most target scores achieved is in the 3v3. In fact, almost 25% of the target scores have come when it has come down to 3v3. The second highest, 7v7, when they come right out of the break at the conclusion of the second half. You would think that we'd have some of the lower ones in places like maybe 2v2, because how many games really head into 2v2? But you'd be surprised. It's not even the lowest target score time achieved, as that shot goes nearly into the woods. If it wasn't for any netting right there, the Bears in the back of the forest would be having their own TST. But it's 6v6 where we have the least amount of target scores get achieved. So just some stats for you. Can't imagine that they're going to be accurate after today's round of games. But you can't always rely on stats. But they're always fun to build stories around. So, folks, City Soccer looking to build out of their defensive end of the pitch. That one launches up in the air. Kicked up high. The header with a strong and solid bounce is saved by Carlos Ceballos. Now, I don't know how accurate the stats necessarily were, but City Soccer might have had 1 shot in the first half. The Mississauga Dolphins had 9, with 2 of them being on targets. If you could do the math, they scored 1 off of those 2 being on target. So 50% efficiency is pretty darn good in this game. But a very, very terrifying effort as City Soccer nearly smashed a header off of a cerebellum and threw into the back of the net. All right, folks. I say the word folks a lot. I've been told by my wife, who's been listening to the broadcast, I should stay away from the word folks. Free kick opportunity here for the Dolphins. We've had a number of, we could say, animals, or teams represented by animals on this pitch. We had Drunken Monkeys earlier. We had Roja Eagles, as that one nearly goes through on that far right post. But very rarely do we get to talk about an animal as majestic as a dolphin. Some of the friendliest creatures out there, but you're not going to want to mess with a dolphin, because when you mess with one, they have people that they know, or fellow Dolphins that they know. On the attack is City Soccer. Beautiful pass in on that right side. Open the shot, saved. Ball is loose. Kicked away. City Soccer showing a sense of urgency. On the left side, the shot just misses to the right. Pace is starting to pick up here within the second half. We're seeing ourselves a bit of a track meet as both teams are firing and teeing off on one another. Back and forth action we go.
And City Soccer in the orange.
So quick start for City Soccer. They don't have the numbers as it's 2 like basically verse 5. And the official's going to blow the whistle. It looks like we might have had some extracurricular activities. Not sure if there was any swings or accidental elbows thrown. We did see an elbow get thrown in the game between Atletico Madrid and Trident FC. Not really a malicious one, but one that was worthy of a red card. That one issued to Brazilian center back legend of Atletico Madrid, Miranda. That set an interesting tone in that game between Trident FC and Atletico Madrid. If y'all like the 4th of July and watching fireworks, I would go back on demand and catch the end of that Atletico Madrid and Trident FC game, because I think that was the only game that we've seen here in the 111 plus that we've had thus far where we've had to have police separate two teams that were chomping at each other. Never a dull moment, though, in the TST. Rarely do we have a dull moment in target score time. As that shot gets fired in to a Halloween-esque black and orange brick wall. Thanks to our production staff, we've been told that there's only been 6 red cards issued throughout the entire tournament. And always appreciate getting those statistics. Always fun to tell those stories. So keep them coming, folks. We love to inform, educate, and entertain. And the team Hidalgo has 3 of them. So the Dolphins on the run. And now that I had a moment to pause, an interesting statement if one thinks about it. Dolphins on the run. So back and forth affair here. If you're just joining us right now, no, that's not a glitch. No, the score bug isn't off. Yes, we know that this game started 15 minutes prior to the scheduled start. If you're just joining us right now, the goal scorer in the first half for Mississauga was Maxime Kowal. That's the only goal that we've seen in this game thus far. So if this result holds, we'd have a target score time of 2. And so, and that one goes in for a split second. It Control-Alt-Delete, and we hibernated our brain, but a goal gets scored. And we're just going to wait for the official confirmation. The Mississauga Dolphins, Raheem Rose, finds a wide open net. Wide open enough where you could have driven a Mack truck through it. Raheem Rose, who competed with Vaughan FC, puts his name in the score sheet. So now the Dolphins currently lead City Soccer by a score of 2-0. When the keeper comes out, as much as they do, obviously you have to be very careful. Complete wide open net. Casual roll through a shot, that gets headed out of play. Momentum starting to shift. And you can sense that the Dolphins are smelling blood in the water. Geez, another interesting statement. Dolphins running and Dolphins smelling blood in the water. I'm going to pipe down here. City Soccer looking to break free from their backfield. Edson Brafheid, the Dutch international who competed with Celtic and Bayern Munich, advances it up top. City Soccer, despite the fact that they're down 2-0, very much in this. Even if regulation were to end, they still have an opportunity within the target score time. But that target score time would go to 3 as Edson Brofheid goes down, and a yellow card is issued to Mississauga's number 13, Tyler Yakasa. Brofheid is not a small individual. In fact, most people that go for 50-50 balls against Edson typically crumble, as Edson built out of stone. But he is back up. If City Soccer is going to look to mount their comeback, they're going to need their Dutch international, number 3, Edson Brofheid. Cross into the box. Down. We almost saw one heck of a golazo, but that one comes off of the crossbar. The amount of ding-dongs we've seen off that woodwork these last 3 games require a painter to come in and paint that goal. That was almost what I would say the goal of the tournament, but just based on the games that I've been calling. So foul issued on City Soccer's number 6. That is Andres Osorno. And so we're over the halfway mark here in the second half, getting closer to that target score time. Mississauga's Osman Hussein is the individual that was hit and comes back up. Hussein out of Humber College, midfielder for the Dolphins. The cross into the box, sails in and back towards the Adidas pop-up tent. And speaking of Adidas will give the game-winning goal scorer in target time what's called the Golden Fleece. Now, that Golden Fleece is actually a scarf. So the individual that gets the game winner in target score time gets this Golden Fleece scarf from Adidas, and that allows them a lifetime admission into the TST tournament and the granddaddy of it all. And we're not talking about WrestleMania. We're talking about the TBT, the basketball tournament. If it wasn't for the success of the basketball tournament, we wouldn't have the TST tournament. And how this tournament has grown has just been incredible. Been fans of it ever since the 2023 year where Newtown Pride won. Newtown Pride, a team consisting of players from the Arena League. They've moved on into the round of 16. La Bombonera, last year's team, looking to defend their championship. Who will take the prize this year? Both these teams, Mississauga and City Soccer, still very much in the conversation. I'll recycle this joke for the third time because third time's a charm. Neither of these teams are looking to fall into Group L. And Group L would be the group heading towards the Raleigh-Durham International Airport because their time here in the tournament is done. Beautiful throw-in by Ceballos. Do the Dolphins have a third one in them? Ceballos, his distribution has been rather stellar. Been very much impressed, not only with his shot-stopping ability in the tournament, but his ability to distribute from the opposite end of the pitch. World-class distribution. Speaking of world-class, we've also seen some world-class saves from City Soccer's Anderson Vera. Got to call City Soccer's win the other night. Vera was pelted time and time again. Played into the midfield, opening things up. But quickly sandwiching in their defensive functions are the Dolphins. In the box, clamoring for a foul as Osorno. Referee plays on. And interesting how Osorno quickly got up. You'd think that Osorno was screaming for bloody murder with the way he fell down on the ground, but when the official wasn't honoring it, he quickly got back on his toes and tracked back defensively. Almost at that 5-minute mark. The shot fired in, and the goal! Mississauga Dolphins find the back of the net for the third time today. Your goal scorer for the second time, successfully collecting his brace. Raheem Rose, let's hand you your flowers. You have 2 goals tonight.
And with 5 minutes left in
If this result holds, the target score time now goes up to 4. We've seen a lot of comebacks these last 2 days with the target score being 4. A hill to climb. But Everest was successfully climbed. Now people hire Sherpas and go up Everest. So even if the most difficult mountains are successfully able to be climbed, City Soccer still very much into it. Slicing through, poked away. The Dolphins mounting their attack again. Stripped away from Osorno. And so, back on his feet after he got taken down was number 18, Jonas Jama out of George Brown College. Now, Canada known for a lot of things. Hockey, poutine, maple syrup, Bryan Adams, the band Rush. But Canadians in these past few years have been successful soccer players. On the futsal side, clearly here at TST with the way the Dolphins are playing. And of course, the Canadian soccer team has improved leaps and bounds. And we're about under 3 minutes before we head, well, under 4 minutes, I should say, before we head into that target score time. Another goal here from the Dolphins would make it incredibly difficult for City Soccer to come through. And thankfully for that ball boy, he was paying attention because that one went right through to his shins. Cutting through and up top, opening things up. The shot fired. Deflects. I was going to say the official, right in front of the official, allowing them to play. You see Juan Gallego, number 10. Juan Gallego playing professionally in Colombia with Deportivo Independiente as that shot gets saved. Another big one from Carlos Zeballos. If City Soccer can find one, it'll make their target score time a little easier to manage.
2 minutes remaining in regulation.
We're hitting that 2-minute warning.
City Soccer FC in the orange.
Now that target score time 4.
As we head toward target score time.
Inching closer to one of the best parts of this TST tournament. And if you love the TST stuff, head on over to the TST's website. You can find the t-shirts of your favorite teams over on soccer.com. Soccer.com, a merchandise supplier. That one threads through from Osorno and off of the fingertips of Ceballos. Closing in on the 60-second time mark here in the second half. The Mississauga Dolphins currently in the catbird seat, leading City Soccer by a score of 3-0.
One minute remaining in regulation here on field.
There's the official confirmation that we are under 60 ticks left. Attacking is City Soccer, trying to force a turnover as the goal was open momentarily. Another world-class distribution to the left side, and that one is saved by Vera. Brofheid barreling his way through the defense. Cutting through. Still exhibiting that skills that took him to the highest level. The shot, look at the outstretched arms. He's going to settle in on it as if his life depends on it. 14 seconds before target score time. And folks, when the official blows the whistle to confirm the end of the second half, we're going to take 2 minutes, give you all a break again. And then when we come back, we're going to enter the Department of Redundancy department again, explain the rules of the TST, remind you all about the Golden Fleece once again, and we'll see who comes out victorious. We're past the regulation technically, but the official does have the jurisdiction as to when this game will officially end. And there it is. So, folks, we're heading into target score time with the Mississauga Dolphins out of Canada, currently up on City Soccer by a score of 3-0. We're going to take a quick break. Don't you dare go anywhere. TST time coming up here on Field 5.
We set our target score by adding 1 goal to the leading team's score at the end of regulation. Mississauga Dolphins has 3, so that makes the target score 4. The first team to 4 goals wins. Mississauga Dolphins needs just 1 to win. City Soccer FC will need 4. Every 3 minutes, if target score is not reached, 1 player will be removed from the field from each team. We will continue play that way until 1 team reaches 4 goals. Folks, let's recap the respective journeys of these 2 teams here at this tournament. Mississauga Dolphins opened up their tournament with 2 losses in a row. Their first, a 6-3 loss to Liga Foot 7. They then lost 4-2 to La Bombonera before recovering with a 6-2 win last night against Abaroterra Hidalgo. They finished 3rd in Group A. Meanwhile, City Soccer FC finished 2nd in their group. They won their opener 2-1 against Cardinal Legacy before dropping their second game 3-0 against Hoosier Army. They finished their campaign in the group stage with a 3-2 nail-biter over Cagliari Calcio.
I can go ahead and start striking. I'm down with that.
Welcome back for the start of target score time, folks. Again, my name's Christian Filliman, better known as Philly. And that raspy voice you hear is really happy and excited to be here today. Now, let's remind you about that target score time again. 7v7 is how both teams will start. Due to the fact that the result is 3-0, that target score is 3 + 1, 4. The Mississauga Dolphins only need to find the back of the net once. They do that, the game is over. City Soccer, they still can win this game, but they have a hill to climb. 4 goals is what they will need to have. So that's how it starts, 7v7. If after 3, no winner is declared, 3 minutes that is, we go from 7v7 to 6v6. If another 3 transpires or expires, same concept will go until we get to 2v2. The individual who scores the game-winning goal gets a lifetime admission pass to the TST and the TBT. How did we get here? Well, let's tell you. To start this game off, we had a quick goal from Mississauga's number 17, Maxim Kowal. That put the Dolphins in a position of advantage really quickly. And then the other 2 goals came from the same person. Number 5, Raheem Rose, the defender. So those are your goal scorers in this game. 3-0 is currently what the result is. Again, if the Dolphins score 1, the game is over, and they will move on to the round of 16 to where they will take on Drip FC. Seen a couple of games where teams have climbed back from this deficit to roll out victorious. City Soccer, highly talented team that has that capability. So, meeting with Drip FC on the line, potential for more money on the line. And so here we go.
1 goal to win it. City Soccer FC need 4.
City Soccer, 1. just the other night in what was an interesting target score time. You can see the look of confidence in Edson Brofheid's face.
And then they take forever. And they wait
So ball gets put back into play. The aforementioned Brofheid. City Soccer shredding through. And that one gets picked up. Crisis averted. Now the question is, as we get closer or into that 5v5, will City Soccer look to pull their keeper and add an extra attacker? The back heel with Saab Kular, the intended recipient. Actually, that's number 7. Apologies. Josh Garcia. Garcia competed at Salt Lake Community College. Also a futsaler in his time. Coming out is Zeballos. Zeballos had a relatively easy first half. Now, City Soccer didn't really have that many shots, but he got busy later on. And that's going to be a foul, yellow card on Edson Brofheid. Brofheid.
Yellow card issued to City Soccer FC's number
Just chat with the ref.
Brofheid.
As Maxim Kowal's up, acknowledge that no malicious intent there. Seen a lot of great sportsmanship. Not just today, but in a lot of games in this TST tournament. Yes, there's $1 million on the line. Character also matters, though, especially when you're representing a team, a city, an academy, and a lot of people watching you at home, here in the stands. Kids as young as 5, adults as old as 95, heck, maybe even 105. Recovered, intercepted, but taken back from Brofheid. Oh, the stories that Edson has within his time playing at Celtic Park. What an experience that must have been. In particular, the Celtic competing against their eternal rivals, the Rangers, the Old Firm Derby as they call it. Heck, 2 years playing with Bayern Munich. Managed to find 12 appearances. So, the rain's starting to fall. And now we go into 6v6. Looking in the audience, I see a good friend of mine by the name of Doug Bortz. We listened to a song by a band called Toto, Blessing the Rains in Africa. And as the rain starts to drizzle, Mother Nature might be blessing the rains in Cary. Passed over to Matias Videngasi. Haven't called his name that much. Playing in the Chilean First Division for Unión Española. Also playing for Chilean Giants, Colo Colo. The thing about this beautiful game is it's just so massive. You could be anywhere in the world and start talking about the sport with anybody, and you could just get into a dialogue and make some friends. Well, in certain parts of the world, make some enemies as well. I do recall a story on my honeymoon. We were in Bali, and I was wearing an LAFC hat, and we were at some pub in this place called Ubud, and a gentleman comes up to me and sees the LAFC hat and mentions Carlos Vela. Think to myself, who in the heck would ever know who Carlos Vela is in Bali in a year where LAFC hadn't even started? Well, he was an Arsenal supporter, and he remembered Carlos Vela in that time. We got to talking. That's the beauty of this incredible sport. As much as we might love games like baseball, I can tell you that take a trip to Madagascar, and chances are no one's going to ever hear or talk about the Milwaukee Brewers, but they'll be able to tell you about Real Madrid. It's funny the things we have to talk about here late in the broadcast. We still have an entertaining one here between the Mississauga Dolphins and City Soccer. that target score time still at 4, or that target score, I should say. Can the Dolphins find their way through to the round of 16? Will City Soccer mount up an incredible comeback as that foul goes against Andres Osorno? Osorno is showing a gesture of discontent on the official's call. Dolphins put it back into play. Calling forward for it is Ceballos. Ceballos being attacked. He's outside of his position. Aggressive defense by number 16, Fabian Bastidas. And actually, on my list, that's incorrect. Roger Cañas. Well, when you have 12 groups of 4, teams have a minimum of 13 players, up to 20. You're talking a lot of players. So mistakes can occur from time to time. So if I messed that one up, my apologies. We'll call that the broadcaster mulligan. And apparently I've been told I had one of those last games. So I would say just like a round of golf, every golfer's allowed a mulligan per round, and I guess per every broadcast. Well, per 9 holes technically. So I would say we're a good 18 or so from the last mulligan. Ceballos on the attack. Chipped into the air. 2-on-1 opportunity momentarily. And the official blows his whistle, signifying the end to this version of the target score time. So now we're up to 5v5. And so I know there are a lot of you that are tuning into this broadcast right now wondering how in the heck we got this far with a game that should have started at 9:45. We got started 15 minutes prior because we were trying to avoid some crazy weather. Thus far, we've avoided it, which is a good thing. And so at the top of the broadcast, I had mentioned that the winning goal, when does that typically happen within the target score time? And the part of it where it occurs the most is the 3v3. That was coming into today, of course, so I want to make sure I throw that disclaimer out there. 25% of the time that happens, or has happened, I should say. Now,
Folks,
we're down to 5v5, which, believe it or not, is the second lowest probability of when the target scores have occurred. We're talking 12%. The lowest just occurred, 6v6. So we can understand why that metric was low. But the further we get and the closer we get to 3v3, that's where the percentage chance of that target score coming becomes greater. Things get really fun when we go to 2v2. Over to the right. Biding their time is Vera. And so the keeper is now coming off. Extra attacker will be coming on. And this is where things get interesting. Taken away by the Dolphins. I have the luxury of being a broadcaster amongst the people. So I'm being showed via an iPhone the incoming weather that we see. And the colors are so bright, they are matching my pineapples with sunglasses attire that I'm donning as we speak. An outfit so bright, that would make an Air Force pilot traveling at Mach speeds blind. So as we have some back and forth action, let's look at the glass half full perspective. We're not getting rained on just yet. The strategy that we're seeing right here is one that was made famous and polarizing by the inaugural winner of the TST. That would be Newtown Pride, a team that has had a lot of success in this tournament. Dating back to 2023, they lost their opening round match, but on their way to winning that $1 million, they went undefeated and went with 24 goals and only conceded 3. This strategy, as polarizing as it is, last year brought them all the way into the quarterfinals, where they didn't concede a goal until they lost to Nani. Nani FC would eventually make it to the finals, where they would drop a heartbreaker to La Bombonera. So while the strategy may not be enjoyed by many of the fans of the TST, it's one that works. One that's worked time and time again, and one that actually worked just last night for City Soccer. But City Soccer needs more than 1 to win target score time. They need 4. And so at some point, Mississauga, their patience is going to get tested. And so City Soccer is going to look to catch them in a scenario where they've made a mistake and they're able to make them pay. Extra attacker out for City Soccer as their keeper, Anderson Vieira, goes to the bench. The gentleman that you see come up was a big force in the target score time for City Soccer last night. Again, Anderson Vieira, the starting keeper for City Soccer, is on the Pine Pony right now. Extra attacker, so that goal is wide open. Should Mississauga decide to attack, unless they have that Star Wars Stormtrooper precision, meaning off target, they have a wide open net. And that net's 18.5 feet wide, 6.5 feet tall. A big target nonetheless. Here's the attack. And that's going to be a foul issued to Mississauga's Jonas Jama. So we head to the next phase of the target score.
And we will resume play at 4-on-4.
So now we go from 5v5 to 4v4.
Right now, but they know what's on the line. A place in the round of 16.
Trip FC
tomorrow.
Keeping an eye out on their competition, doing some scouting, wondering if it's going to be Mississauga out of Canada, or will it be City Soccer? City Soccer, named after an indoor facility that was established in 2010 in South Florida. There's your backstory. That goal is open. Oh, intercepted. The shot fired, saved. And so now, Mississauga with possession. The extra attacker is on for City Soccer. Can the Dolphins find their way to a victory here? The attack, the shot, a save by an individual who's not a keeper. Ball is loose. And yes, folks, that is legal. The individual that's the extra attacker in the box can put their hands all over that 5-miter ball. So that was perfectly legal. Now he can't necessarily do that as he's outside. But Mississauga might have missed a golden opportunity at a golden fleece just a moment ago. So now with that extra attacker, they pull forward. Shot fired and above the crossbar. Off the mark is Cesar Quintero.
They have been awarded a corner, though.
And so the official indicating that that's
in the white and red,
a corner.
A 3-goal lead.
And so
here in target score time.
Ball gets put back into play.
Target score is 4. Mississauga Dolphins need 1. City Soccer FC needs 4.
So here. A loud roar on the fields Bumpy pitch just beat the local NC Courage on the other field as we hear the audience over in the distance. Figured we'd update you as we're just sitting here on the seat of our, I guess you could say, grass, because we're all standing on grass. Osorno has Quintero to his right. Quintero wearing the extra attacker penny. The penny matching his boots, by the way. Very color coordinated. Quintero in the box, creating some space, looking to backheel it. Que golazo! Oh, Dios mío, que golazo! Mi amigo, what a goal by City Soccer to claw one back. Fabian Bastidas with the cheeky, disrespectful back heel. And so now City Soccer is starting to make this game interesting. The game has been interesting. But City Soccer, will they mount their comeback?
Another 3 minutes of target score time have passed.
Another 3 minutes of target score time have passed.
One player comes off the field for
3-on-3 action now. This is the best time statistically because this is where 25% of the target scores have been achieved. The disclaimer, that was prior to tonight. What it is after this, Lord only knows. But we see and have seen a lot of target scores get achieved on 3v3. Will it be Mississauga doing it right here, or will we go to 2v2? Mississauga in the box making the attack, picked up. Extra attacker, no keeper in. That one all the way to the right. The extra attacker tracks back as Dylan Tolero goes to the extra attacker. And now we're going to see City Soccer switch out. And so no but extra attacker here. Checking to see if that's Quintero. What are the odds of two players having matching boots and pennies, particularly when the colors are orange and black? Space to the left. The numbers favor City Soccer based on the fact that they have the extra attacker. And no keeper in goal. And there's another one. Dylan Tolero, who played for Inter Miami 2, Botafogo in Brazil, scores the second goal for City Soccer. Hold your horses, folks. Now we've got an even more interesting game. The beauty of the target score time on full display here on Field 5. No lead is safe. No team is out of it. So 3-on-3. Potentially to 2v2. 3-2. Starting to get a couple of members of the crowd sticking around here. We appreciate those that are still in the audience. That one gets launched in as Tolero scrambles in. Another open goal. He rolls it. Is that in? It is! Dylan Tolero gets his second of the game. It is now tied at 3. About 5 minutes ago, you might have argued the fact that what's happening on the pitch right now, mildly slow, to put it nicely. But the tactics clearly work. City Soccer is patient. And just like a snake, sitting down, coiling itself up, ready to sink its fangs into its prey. In this case, the prey being the Dolphin. City Soccer has now tied it. Next goal wins for either team right now. That hill to climb has been stomped. It's not even an anthill. It's a close game. We have a tie game. Seen this time and time again. Will Mississauga spoil the night and destroy the comeback for City Soccer? Or will City Soccer have an epic comeback? Targeted in. That one gets saved. Another opportunity. That just misses. Just misses. And you can hear it with my voice cracking, whatever I have left of my vocal cords. 2v2. No question we're going to see an extra attacker here. City Soccer with possession. The extra attacker. They can have themselves a kickabout for a little while in the box. The only thing they have to do is be careful and not miss out on what is a golden opportunity to complete an incredible comeback. A spot in the round of 16. How sweet 16 can be. It will be sweet for somebody. It will push the other one into Group L and a trip back to the Raleigh-Durham International Airport. City Soccer. Well, there we talk about some mistakes. So nearly a one-on-none with the footwork. Pushing through. The shot. The goal. It is over. Matthias Fidengasi with the game winner. City Soccer come back in target score time. Down 3-0. And they defeat the Mississauga Dolphins by a score of 4-3. Take a bow, Matthias Fidengasi. You, kind sir, are the winner of not only the game, but the Golden Fleece. Forever you will be welcome to the TBT and target score time. What an incredible comeback. For those that are new to this tournament, this is what makes the TST what it is. The TST, the target score time. Most people would have thought that City Soccer was dead in the water, and a lot of people would have agreed. They would have given it to the Mississauga Dolphins, but City Soccer with an incredible comeback heads through to 16 and a date with Drip on the horizon. To the Mississauga Dolphins, my hat and my heart goes out to you. You played an incredible game. It's just unfortunate that it went the way it did. But on behalf of myself, and I assume everybody at TST working for it and watching it, we hope that you do come back. On behalf of myself, Christian Filliman, better known as Philly, our production staff, our public address announcer, our scorekeeper, and our statisticians, we want to say thank you so much for tuning into the soccer tournament on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow for the round of 16.
There are a limited number of tickets still available, so if you haven't grabbed yours yet, visit tst7v7.com/tickets to get yours now. We'll see you back here tomorrow.